Hi, welcome to the Property Show. I'm Jayashree Kurup. I'm editor MBTV. I have with me Mr. Satish Magar. He's the national president of CREDAI, confederation of all the developers in the country, and a industry that is battling really difficult times. While all industries are facing a tough time, the real estate industry particularly, because it has gone through an extended period of slowdown over the last 4 to 5 years. Mr. Magar, thank you so much for joining us.
It's going to be a pleasure.
Mr. Magar, when we talk about the real estate industry, what is it that what is the biggest impact that you see of COVID on this industry?
There are many. I cannot pinpoint on one.
Yeah, yeah,
Point number one, there is no liquidity in the market.
sure.
The industry is totally starved of money. We have had, as you said, a bad run for the last couple of years. More sometimes of perception, sometimes of mindset of people. Now we have come to a situation where uh, there is no activity on site, there is no inflow coming from sales, uh, and there's no money. So financial impact is one. The second biggest impact what we see is the exodus of labor. Migrant labor going back to their hometowns is a problem. If they go back now, probably it will take a long time for them to return. I totally sympathize with them. We totally agree with them that yes, they are scared. They need to go home. They need to meet their near and dear ones. But they have come to different states. They have come to the metros for job opportunity. They have not come here to spend time. What will they go do when they go back? Will they be able to survive? What we needed in this time, but today they are scared. They are scared of life. They are scared of continuity of job. If work could commence, which in some places they are allowing, but there are a lot of problems in that. If the work could move on, if people could get engaged, if they feel, if their minds are diverted because sitting in the labor camps, they're continuously watching the WhatsApp messages, which has created such a big havoc now. They're watching TV, they're talking to their people. A lot of rumors are floating around. So if they could, get themselves engaged, if they can get occupied, probably, this entire stress and the strain on the government, the local governments, the state governments, the national government on transporting people would, I think, probably go down slightly. So there is a financial problem, there is a market perception problem, everything's come to a standstill. And to add to all our problems, the labor started moving back.
Right, right. So let's talk about remain on that labor issue. We do know that many developers across the country have actually looked after their labor. You did try to hold back your labor. You looked after them, fed them, ensured hygiene, and so on. How many of you? How many of the labor that we see out on the streets belong to the real estate sector? Have you been able to hold any part of your labor back,
See,
or?
what happens is that uh, everywhere, the perception is that the migrant labor works only in real estate sector. I totally disagree with. You go to any metro, all the people who work in restaurants, people who work in hotels, the cab drivers, the auto drivers, the mechanics, the helpers, people who street food vendors, most of them are migrant laborers. Now, for them, when there's a total lockdown and there's no business happening, nobody's taking care of them, they are on the streets. Our people are not on the streets. In fact, we have been looking after them. We have given them ration. We have seen that they are well off. We have seen that their hygiene is looked after. So we have people on sites. It is not that everyone is gone. In this entire period of time, we have seen that people stay on sites. We have got help from government agencies in many places, like the BOCW board in Maharashtra has started the midday meal, and likewise they have started in many areas. So it's all been taken care of. So there are not many of them on the roads. Yes, but unorganized sector, industrial labor, where everything has come to a standstill, and especially the MSMEs and SMEs, I think that problem is there. Those people are out.
Right. One of the first announcements the government made was that labor which is registered would get some amount of subsidy directly into their accounts. What percentage of construction labor is actually registered today?
See, we pay a lot of money to the BOCW boards. and there are thousands of crores which is lying idle in those boards. So CREDAI had taken this up. We took it up with Maharashtra, which started from here. Then UP joined in, other states have joined in. So I think first tranche of 2000 was given. Now again they have announced to give additional money. So where this money is directly credited to their accounts. There are certain issues in the registration because most of this labor is migratory. It doesn't stand on one side for long. But now I think post COVID, there are certain improvements which we need to do. So like we have a portable number for PF. I think the same type of system should will have to be adopted, so that that person can go around work in many sites and still have the benefits of which have been paid for. So I would say more than 50% of them are registered with the board, and the benefits have been coming. The midday meals and all have been served to them in the past few couple of weeks of lockdown.
What about the labor registry that we're talking about? A lot of developers said you have been paying cess, the labor cess, for a long period of time. There is a corpus out there, and will that help you in these difficult times?
See, they have now given part payment to them. They have provided midday meals
Mm.
at that cost. Some portion of loss of wages, I mean, by part payment to their accounts, direct to bank accounts, part payment, that I would term as some portion of loss of wages has also been paid to them. Uh, yeah, it has been taken care. But now we have not experienced this situation before. We used to always deposit money and forget, because at the time of getting a plan sanction you have to pay that challan. But now I think we will talk to the government, we'll talk to the central ministry and even the state ministers, that we need to do more. And I think they have the wherewithal to do much more than what has been happening now, including insurances, including crashes, including schools for their children. A lot of things can happen now. Even training, skilling of people.
Yeah, you come from Pune. Pune has been a leader in skilling of the workforces. Is there any plan on planned skilling of partial skilling of workforces?
In fact, what is happening or what is going to happen post COVID is what we are envisaging now is that there's going to be a total change in the way we do our business. Uh, Costing is going to be extremely important. The whole process is going to be industrialized. So the quality of product, uh, which RERA demands, plus the costings, because now the rates will be, probably we'll have to work on a cost plus basis. So once that whole process starts happening, then we will require more and more people who are trained, who are skilled, who know to use the technology, because technology probably may play a very important part in what we are going to do henceforth. So yes, uh, we are looking at different new methods of training. Previously, we were only training a few set of people, but now the labor committee, which is controlled, which is looking after the skilling and all, are coming out with new packages. So we'll be training the plumbers, the electricians, everyone. So all that will have to come in, where efficiency needs to come in, and use of technology will also be a part of it.
So the quality also will then scale up, right?
Yeah, I hope it should.
Right. Mr. Magar, many developers have been talking about technologies. How much technology can be adopted, especially because projects just stopped one day, right? One day it was working, the next day it was stopped. Can technology infusion be take place in existing projects, or will you have to wait for the next
No,
round?
what we'll have to do is see this. The building information management system may probably come in greenfield projects. In its current projects, wherever it has stopped halfway, we'll have to look at, not the very high-end technology, very sophisticated, but slight changes in the working, so that we can move towards a certain direction. Maybe it is not 100% possible, but at least 25%, 50%. Even if we reach to the 40-50% mark, by adopting more technology, more recent technology, I think it will help us.
Some work has already begun. Work is expected to begin full swing by next week in most places.
Let
What
me
are
keep
the
my fingers crossed.
Yes, fingers crossed. What are the challenges of starting construction? Once work stops completely, to restart, what are the challenges?
See, what has happened is the first challenge is to train the people to maintain the decorum, which has been suggested. Even CRIDA has worked on it. We have circulated to all our members. So the first thing what we need to do is to train people to accept the physical distancing and all that. That is one point. So that is one challenge, which is very not a very large challenge, which we are taking care of. Secondly, the scare factor, where we need to counsel them that we need to start working. This is going to give them the livelihood. This is one because it's all in the mind, and we are going to work on the minds of people who are not that educated. Their languages are different, so that is the second challenge. The third challenge is supply of material because everything is closed. I mean, it is not that the industry is working or something is working. So that is going to be a issue, which probably we'll find a way out where the non-containment zones, some relaxations will happen. The fourth, which I'm very scared of, and which is coming up a big way, and which is not right in the ethics of business, is cartelization. You see the cement and the steel rates just shooting up the sky. I don't know why. They have been closed. They want to do business. Uh, and if they are going to look at long term business, are they monopolized? I think the government will have to really take a very serious action against them. See, like they expect we to do certain things, they expect every other industry to do certain things. I think these two industries, particularly cement, is just having a run of their life, which I think needs to be controlled. Uh, we have commitments, so there cannot be a consumer resistance. They are not totally dependent on us because the state infrastructure projects also are their buyers. But I think uh, whether a pricing policy, it is a free for all market. But probably for the next 2 years, till the situation improves, if a pricing policy is introduced to them, because everybody knows their cost of growth. I mean, what happens every Monday? I don't understand. Every Monday they change the rates. It has become like a stock market that the Sensex is opening with a different rate. This should not happen. They have to be rational because this is rebuilding of a nation.
Right.
We are going through a period. So we are all saying now that we had AD and BC. Now we will have AC and BC. So it will be after COVID and before COVID. So when we are looking at an after COVID period, everyone has to be a part. It is not only the developers or the MSMEs or the SMEs, the banks, the manufacturers, these large bulk material manufacturers also have to be a part of it. And then only they will reap the benefits. Because if the country collapses, if the economic collapses, who will buy their material? I think it is time that they look for long-term gains and not at a very short-sighted approach.
Mr. Bhagar, a lot of our fittings, fixtures, completion materials, and so on used to come from overseas. Like a lot came from China, you had imports from Italy, and so on. With those supply chains also disrupted, do you think that you will have to look for alternatives?
Yeah, we'll have to go to the Make in India process very fast.
Okay.
I think, and we have to do it because now it's time to give back everything to our own people. We don't want to, and we are not interested in giving benefits to other countries. We should first build our nation. And the Make in India process, which the Honorable Prime Minister started for other industries like defense, I think we have to do it for all. And real estate should not stay behind in this. We have to, but yes, again, we have to be quality conscious, we have to be price competitive, but it can be a survival mechanism for a lot many people.
Do you think that you have enough Indian industries at present for you to be able to finish whatever you have begun?
Yeah, we have.
You
The,
have.
we have the technology.
You
There's
have.
nothing more. We just lost in between on the Chinese invasion, but I think we can come back to normalcy.
You spoke about finance, and finance is one of the biggest challenges that you're going to face. So, as we speak, the finance minister is having a dialogue with the banks. The prime minister is also speaking to the chief ministers. Clearly, the whole system is geared towards restarting, right? What are the challenges of finance, and where do you see the solutions?
See, the whole wheels have been disrupted. Normally, by March end, people see that their accounts don't become NPAs. Now, what has happened is that because this disruption happened probably from the first week of March, so those defaults have happened where the government has extended. So they have given time till 30th of June on where you can square your accounts up, which I think will have to be extended further because there's not going to be rainfall of money on 30th of June. It's going to take time. And I think the government has also accepted that fact, and they are working towards it. So I have no complaints with the government.
Yeah.
The government did what they can do. The RBI has given guidelines. Now we get answers saying that RBI can only give guidelines and not orders. I don't understand. The banks are in the business of making money. And when you are in the business of making money, you cannot play safe continuously. You have to do business in the nature of adventure. And it is required. Today, the nation requires it. So instead of, parking 8 lakh crore rupees with RBI at 3.75%, if they come out in the market, they bring money at cheaper rate, they infuse liquidity so the project starts moving. Because if you take real estate as a sector, we have estimated more than for around 5 crore people are either employed or dependent on that, which is a huge number. So 20 crores of the Indian population can be taken care of. And if the banks are going to play safe and they're going to just reap the harvest and try and get maximum benefits, how can that happen?
Yeah.
It cannot happen. They have to come to the streets. They have to join hands. They are not doing any favor to us or anyone. I think they will be doing a favor to the country.
Yeah.
And this is the time when they have the money. I'm not saying that they were starved and they don't have the money, so they are in a problem. They have 8 lakh crore rupees
Right.
at 3% odd in Reserve Bank of India. When the Reserve Bank of India does not want them to park the money there. So what should we should have an emergency where the Reserve Bank of India says that you have to do this, and then only they will do. I think they need to change. They need to think differently. I know most of the banks are not going to like me saying this,
Yeah.
but they have to come out. They have to look at everything as a project, as a business opportunity, not only for them, but for the country as a whole, because the employment generation, the indirect benefits which come are going to be huge. They just cannot sit being very safe.
And do you think that the government is going to be able to persuade the banks? I think it's more a fear because there has been a lot of corruption and cases of fraud and things like that, and they're playing safe. So, do you
How
what
safe
can
can you play? How safe? Sometimes you have to take a risk. See, if you are doing 10 cases and if one case is bad, and if you think that that one case will bring down your credibility, see, there will be news. There will be talks about it. But the 9 cases which have done good, what about them? I think a time has come where we have to change our mindsets of thinking. Now with RERA, you have total control. Previously, you had no control. Now you have total control. My money is in escrow. You have to see that it moves, and you have to give that time. We are not asking for free money. We are not asking for waivers in loans and interest like the agriculture sector because that's a different story. We are asking for time. And if that time is not there, then what will happen? It should not happen that we enter into a non-cooperation movement of 1942 when people just put up their hands and says we don't have anything to give. So then what will happen? So instead of writing losses, if they can just bring that whole thing back and become entrepreneurs, because banks have to be entrepreneurial now. They cannot just sit quiet. They have to change.
Mr. Magar, your industry itself, once work restarts, of course, timelines are going to get shifted. But how much will the goalpost move when it comes to completion deadlines?
See, minimum 6 months to a year. Because even if I start today, for the labor to come back and to start, it's going to take about 4 months to 6 months. It will be only post monsoon when everything will really start moving well. Just just keeping being optimistic. The whole fear of the COVID goes off.
Yeah.
Things come under control. If Pune is fortunate enough to give the first vaccine, that is all welcome.
Yes.
So, because we got the first case in India, so I think it is our duty to give the first vaccine also.
Right.
So, all these things put together, it will take about 6 months minimum, and I would stretch it to 1 year to be very, safe.
Is there something that developers can do with your consumers so that there is that deficit is?
Yeah, we are talking. We have spoken to people that open dialogues. Don't keep anything hidden. Don't become autocratic or don't become very impersonal because selling a house is an emotional product. So there needs to have conversation. So as it is, our people are sitting idle. If our people start talking to people, talking to customers, they also understand because they see this time, the situation is such that no one person is going under strain. Everyone is going under strain. The whole world is under strain, and when these things happen, then it is dialogue and interaction which will help, which our members are doing across the board.
Do you think that the entire real estate industry will be able to come out, or do you think that there will be some more consolidation and so on?
No, we will all come out, because what has COVID given? At the end of the tunnel, what has it shown? That the safest place for you to go back is your home. We are all locked down in our homes.
Right.
So I think if you want security for your family, if you want security for your future, the first thing people will ask is, why not go and have my own home? And I think all the millennial stories that they don't want to buy and they want to be global and all that, that's all going to come down. So there is going to be an opportunity. Services industry will come to India in a big way, because they will need cost arbitrage. That cost arbitrage will only come through India, because we have educated people who can work for a lesser. If you take the dollar rupee exchange rate, it is cheaper to work from here. Probably the norms will change. Probably the rentals will be up and down, but that opportunity will come. And just hoping that if there's an exodus of industry out of China, where else will it go? We are one of the contenders for it. But I'm keeping that as number three. But the security of a home and service industry doing well, I think we will be uh, in a good situation for times to come. So most of us will come out of it. I think everybody should come out of this. Unless we have done something wrong, we have gone overboard, being too adventurous before, then we may have a problem. But it is time. It is a matter of time. And that is what we need. We need
Um,
support in this time.
do you see any construction practices changing from on-site to off-site, more speedier forms of technology infusion? Do you see such things happening now?
No, I think economization of design may happen. But again, like doing prefab and all in countries like India, where the road infrastructure is not so good, the cost is an issue. We have so much of people to work on. So that may not. But re-engineering on designs will happen. Product designing will be a major factor. Market study will come in. So all these things will come in. Efficiency on work, cost optimization, uh, all these things should come in now.
Okay. And finally, where does the role of RERA, does the role of RERA shift from a regulator to probably a facilitator?
It has to be a facilitator, not a regulator, because there are going to be problems. There are going to be, ups and downs. There are going to be frictions which are going to come. So if they just stop a site, who benefits? The developer does not benefit, the consumer doesn't benefit. Because ultimately the role of RERA is to see that the consumer gets his product, gets it in time, and gets it with the quality which is being promised. So the role of RERA is going to be important. I think there will be more facilitator as a facilitator than as a regulator.
Mr. Magar, we have some queries. If you don't mind, I'll pick up the queries. Maybe you can answer them. There's somebody called. Yeah. We won't take not too many, but we'll just quickly run through them. There's Sanjeev Rajwade, who says banks and NBFCs are not funding to developers working in affordable housing segment though affordable housing is given infrastructure status. How can CREDAI work with
No, we have already written to RBI. We have already spoken to the our lead ministry, the housing ministry. We have written to the finance minister also, that alimony which was there, because it is announced in the budget but not implemented by the banks to some extent, will come in. So, like I said earlier, there is going to be a shift in the entire way of working of everyone, and all these factors which are required to propel the industry, like the infrastructure status, the more advantages to the home buyer, make it more lucrative to buy. All these factors will come in. I mean, it's just, I think we are now in the survival mode, moving towards the revival mode. So once we cross from the survival to the revival mode, I think the government should come with a package of, I will not say incentives to the buyer and the system change.
One of the questions that I've got is that with borders locked down, getting construction materials to your sites, that's going to be a challenge when you restart. How do you
No,
propose?
but they are now gradually opening the borders also in the non-containment areas. They are opening the borders also. So interstate borders are getting open. You can take special permission to get material from one state to the other. There's a little bit of bureaucratic hassles and some problems which come on the road because now not only the police forces but even the local people have some in some places taken charge of the situation. But it's okay. I mean, there will be a little bit of pain, but it can come.
And messages such as the Karnataka one, where they've advised the police and the government officials to facilitate construction because it is going to be a big economic indicator. Those are good moves, right?
I think it should be from top down. Everyone should do that
Right.
because the whole cycle starts moving. There are
Right.
what more than 120 industries which are dependent on construction.
Mhm.
Even they start moving. So it is not only the construction, but the government revenue starts moving. The GST collections will come in. Everything will start moving once the real estate starts. So I think after agriculture, what should move is the real estate and
Last,
construction. I will take it as
yeah.
the whole gambit.
Last question, Mr. Magar. The query has come from Deepak saying that some developers with delayed projects don't talk with their buyers. How is CREDAI as a body planning to?
No, we are advising everyone to speak to all our members. In fact, I have spoken to probably every city president in the country in the last 6 weeks because there was a lot of time in hand. And this tool of internet has become a big tool. We have been telling people, our people have started. The Krida Youth Wing and the Women's Wing is also working on this. So the process is on. We are not going to keep anyone out of the entire circle.
Thank you so much, Mr. Magar, for joining us. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.